Oh, it looks so bleak, doesn't it? Oh, it looks just so... It looks so miserable, doesn't it?
It does. Hey, so
Yes. What do you?
It does. I'm just sending you the link. I just sent you the link there. Right.
No way.
It looks good.
Yeah. I'm just sending it to the boys. Hey, I'm just sending it to like my group chat with the fellas like Cam and Mitch. Stage 2 of the tour, huh? It's hard to believe, like after following yesterday's stage, just the fallout, the stress, the nerves, and to think that it's only quite literally day 2 today.
I know. It's like the racing doesn't need to be any more nervous as is. That first stage was nervous, and you'd think a lot of the riders would be like, yeah, I'm feeling pretty relaxed now. But then you've got the pissing rainy stage like this. And what about Phillipson? The poor guy gets his first ever yellow jersey, and then he's got to wear a bloody raincoat, a yellow fucking raincoat over the top.
It's a yellow raincoat. I rate it. No. It's more bling. It's more yellow, if anything. Man, Phillipson he's not made of sugar. He will absolutely relish today's conditions, I reckon. I think he would love it. Are you putting a photo of what was that little photo there?
I'm sharing to the IG, mate. Get everyone on.
Oh my God. Jeez, God forbid. How about yesterday? Obviously, we're looking at the screen. We've got the stream up. We've got Pro Cycling Stats up and running. We've got it all. The beast is in motion, so to speak, here. Sylvain Dillier, the rider in the front at the moment, when he stuck his nose out in the wind and he asked for a bit of assistance and he got absolutely stonewalled from everybody else.
Oh, you know what was funny about that clip I made? Someone commented on that reel, which I deleted because they were like, oh, that's old. And I looked at it because I grabbed it from Twitter. And it wasn't an old clip. It didn't even happen. I know. But it's still, the actual same thing happened in the stage. So it wasn't wrong. But, look at this. Plappy will be hating this. He will be hating.
What's going on, mate? What's going on with your man?
Nothing's going on. He doesn't like it.
Why is he riding the last wheel? He spent too much time with Simon Yates.
He does this if it's wet or if it's dry. You know, he just doesn't want to crash. He doesn't care about losing time. But, geez, it's just a nightmare, isn't it?
Well, the tricky thing is, though, with today, and we just heard earlier from or even Kreuziger and as well as Gasparotto, some of the directors of the big teams and at Red Bull. And they said today's a GC day. So Plapp's got to get around, his teammates. Obviously, if they had Michael Matthews today, they'd be looking to win today. But they don't. And they got to look after O'Connor and even Dylan, so to speak. So even Mara Schmidt could be on for today as well.
Yeah, maybe. I think it's Van der Poel and Pogacar. That's what we're going to get. I mean, look at everyone can see the profile up here with Pro Cycling Stats, and I'll just get my mouse on here. When you can see, I don't know if you can even see that, but on the final sort of where the 200 meter mark is on that top right hand profile, that is where it starts to get crazy. And the run into that, it's going to be wet. There's no like 5K rules either on this sort of stuff. So once you get deleted on that final 10Ks, if you're out of position into that final climb, if you've crashed because someone's fallen over at the back, that's it. Your whole GC could be done. So it is going to be so nervous, and the rain just makes it worse.
Absolutely. The rain makes it absolutely miserable. It's just soul quenching. Now, the finale today, I think we touched on it in our preview. Speaking of, 9 kilometers out, you've got a category 3, which is a kilometer at 10%, followed by another category 4 pretty much immediately after. And then you've kind of got this sort of little bit of a lull before the last kick up to the line, which is 1.2K at just under 4%. So it's so technical, but it's not. The climbs are technical, but the actual route itself is just going to be so demanding, just twisty, tight little roads. we saw the big boys like Durbridge just do such a good job yesterday. Jumbo were elite, weren't they? Jumbo, I say Visma. How good were they? They just had numbers in the front. Like Tadej, he had Tim Wellens, but I heard Jonas after the race. He was being interviewed in the media scrum, and he turned around and he just was like, he was asked, why'd you make it hard if you weren't looking for the chaos? And he's like, well, someone was going to make it hard. It was going to be split. It was inevitable. And he was like, it was going to be us if we were in that position, and they were.
Yeah, they did well. I think Jonas always, since he came back to racing at the Dauphiné, he's really made a point of, hey, I'm here to race. He did it on stage 1 of the Dauphiné when he attacked and he was up the front and the crosswinds, and it's what he's got to do. He just has to do that to stay out of trouble, which was good to see. But it was actually Tudor. It was Tudor Pro Cycling. They were the ones that really lit up those crosswinds as we're getting shots of the breakaway at the moment, which, by the way, you can see on screen. It's Bruno Amaral. He's a pretty solid sort of diesel style rider. You got Federov from Astana. He's actually a beast. He's got that teal helmet. Brent Van Moor is a proper breakaway 200-kilometer specialist. Really, really good rider with the red bibs, white helmet. And then Leknessson is actually a really good climber. He's finished top 10 in the Giro, I think, when he was riding for DSM, and he got out of that shit team. So pretty good. It's pretty. I actually like the combination because Brent Van Moor is one of those ones who can actually catch the peloton unawares. But one thing that
the breakaway's gone today. Like it's a.
Yeah,
it's a TV thing, or to pick up the points, obviously, for the comp. Bruno Amaral, he's in good nip as well. French national TT champion, so he's moving.
Yeah. What do you think about Tudor, Tommy? They've got they're winning the teams classification, and they're rolling out the yellow helmets, and they did a big post about.
Oh, here we go, just on screen there, Mark Hershey. Hey, you got to. If you have a win at the tour, no matter how big or how small, you've got to grab it with both hands, don't you? Just publicise it. That is it. It's the big stage. It's what people take notice. I like it. Mate, team's class is
a bit early for the helmets, mate. You should have seen the post. It was like, come on, lads. I mean, you made the front split. Fair play. They did create that first echelon, but rolling out the helmets, look at it getting the TV time now. They're loving it.
Yeah. As they show, we're just going through the Australian update. Ben O'Connor just flexing that left wrist of his. He came off, took a little bit of bark. He'll be bowling some pies when he gets back home over summer with that right wrist. So he won't. I'm not worried. I'm not too worried about that when he's back here at the bit of backyard.
Did you get any words from him from after last night when he stacked it? Did he send any message to the group chat?
Oh, just something very explicit to say how difficult and challenging this sport can be. How unrewarding it can be, but you make your own. Like, here's what he said. What did he say pre-race?
Let us know what he says. Big Benny.
Nothing broken.
He looks upbeat. Nothing, bro. He looks upbeat. What about Gaz? Big Gaz, you see my jumper? Old Devil's cardigan, Gazza. Bloody hell, lads. I've got to work tomorrow. Yeah, they comment and they come up on the right-hand side if you see it. So Gaz is up, mate. Yeah, he's up here. Bit old. Feels like Tassie here in Perth. Actually, it's raining all day today. Need a bit of jackets.
So I'm just listening to Boca here.
Yeah, you listen to him. They're showing. One thing I don't get is why do they have only black rain jackets? Surely, in this age of technology, the teams can come up with their actual team-coloured rain jackets. I mean, that's got to be. Doesn't that technology exist? From all of the tech that's in cycling, they have to run with the black jackets at all times.
Yeah, it's. I think you're on the money there. Like, if obviously Jayco, for example, with Map, like it would make sense to have a purple rain jacket, would it not? It's something that I thought would have been, obviously like low-hanging fruit for the kit company, so to speak. How's that from the old O'Connor though? He's upbeat. He's ready for this. He rode a little bit of favoritism, but he was clinical yesterday. He rode like Jonas and Tadej, doing a lot of the work when he needed to do, just moving up. He was really good in positioning for a lot of the time. I thought Jayco was solid throughout, despite having, Plapp, Dunbar and Smith. They obviously, it wasn't their job to fight for position, was it? So, despite that,
they did well. And with Mezgets as well. Mezgets is a crafty operator. And one thing I'm noticing now, we're just on an ad break with SBS, and I noticed it at the Giro. In fact, I think you pointed it out. When SBS, they obviously sell slots of time for the ad breaks for ads. So 30-second ad here, they sell it to NRMA Insurance and then to Anaconda, etc. But during the Giro coverage, there was multiple times where they didn't have any ads. So SBS just have a holding screen that says, sit back tightly, the race will be coming back on soon. And that means they haven't been able to fill and get anyone to purchase an ad slot for that part of the coverage. But what I noticed last night for the Tour and so far for the ad breaks today, it is absolutely chock-a-block full of ads. So it just goes to show that the Tour de France is the one that makes the big bucks for your broadcasters and with all the ad reads, because I'm seeing ads that I've never seen on SBS before, and that's obviously because they come after the tour coverage.
Oh, are you ready for it though? I think it got to maybe 80 Ks to go last night, and I was already sick of seeing another Harvey Norman ad. I just thought, how can I do this for another 20 nights? I've got 20 nights of Harvey Norman getting slammed down my throat.
There was one that stood out. I'm trying to think of what it was last night, but it was one that stood out. I couldn't believe they've actually purchased an ad for the tour, and I hope it comes up again. I just can't remember which one it was. We've got the antibacterial cream now on show. That's what the riders will need at the end of the race.
Have the best ad of the tour. There's got to be a little highlight. What are we going to call this live YouTube streaming business, Jet? Here, do we have a name for this show?
People need comments. People need to comment. What should this show be called? Because we want to give. This is going to be unfiltered. We're watching the coverage. You guys are watching it. We like the commentators on SBS. They're great, but sometimes I feel like you need a bit of how you going, just a bit of call it like you see it, because you do sometimes, the commentators have to have a vanilla view at times, because they are live on TV to hundreds of thousands of people. But we'll have to come up with a name, Tommy.
Okay. We'll get the brains trust. Who wins today? What happens?
I think we get a beautiful battle between Pogačar and Mathieu van der Poel. That final climb, it's them. It's them on toast. And yesterday, I wonder if anyone else noticed, Van der Poel didn't look that good. His lead out for the intermediate sprint was like 3 pedal strokes, and it was so early that he actually had to flick, Jonas Rickart through. He got his hand out and said, "Hey, I'm finished." And then the same for his lead out in the finale. It was very, very short, and left Caden Groves a lot of work to do. So I reckon Van der Poel wasn't feeling that great, Tom.
I think that's very stiff. Van der Poel did a lot of the majority of the work. As soon as they got that split, Alpecin took up the onus, the responsibility immediately, alongside actually Intermarché with Visma, and they started rolling. Van der Poel was a key influencer in keeping that going. There was even that little moment where Caden dropped the wheel, there was a little split, and then straight away Van der Poel just started riding again. So
he didn't look great. Remember his lead outs from last year? His lead outs lasted like a kilometre, and these ones he was. I don't think he peaked.
The lead outs when he got lasted like last year, he was always just dropping him off right in the honey hole, but he was also there, and it was last man. He was last man when all the lead out trains had been exhausted. So everyone's playing this cat and mouse, waiting for someone to go. So the pace, you've actually seen it for many years when Mikel Morco, the best lead out man ever, was on the front, and say when he's in there with Cav in his wheel, he would actually be going like 90%. He'd be having a look around, and everyone's kind of waiting because they're at 350 to go, and he's just biding his time. He's biting his time, and he probably was pinned. He probably was absolutely pinned. I would have been pinned.
Go watch it, mate. I'm telling you, he's not in. I think he's a little bit off. Okay, we don't need the mechanics of Morcu's sprint from 2018. But what about Cameron Alexander? What about something that hasn't been done before for our name, Tour de France Unchained? Have you watched any of the Tour de France Unchained?
No, not an episode. Hey, not an absolute episode. I don't think I'm going to waste my time. I read a synopsis because someone over at Cycling Weekly, I think Tom Danielson, he did a quick write-up on it, and it was said it was also very French. They followed the French teams. They followed the French riders. And at the moment, with the state of French cycling, the way it's in with RKF holding, I don't need to watch any. I don't need to waste my time watching that. So
They just showed, speaking of French cycling and tatters, those two idiots on the on the coverage. They showed the replay of Benjamin Thomas and
what's going on here?
Who's the other guy just absolutely flipping it. Oh, Ben O'Connor, what's happened? Has he got bike change? No, same bike. Has he got the transponder on the bike? Because
he's got the number on it.
No, that's his bike. He's just probably stopped for a piss. So O'Connor's coming back to the peloton. He's just in the cars. He looks mildly annoyed, but it doesn't look like he's chasing full gas because the peloton, they wouldn't be going full noise. He looks comfortable.
Mate, he's doing 55
an hour.
Yeah, where's your head at, my friend? Back to Cameron Alexander's question though. Is he asking us if we've watched it? I think he is. Would you watch it?
Didn't you see the comment? Look, he said that's what maybe.
You've got the stream up. You can go through that side.
Oh, okay. So I'm bringing up little comments up on screen, mate. So look at Tom. He's too cool. He was saying a cool name for our stream could be. Yeah, but Unchained, I haven't watched it. But I did have a few people message me throughout the week. Dom De Silva, he messaged me saying that, he liked it. He's a sucker for any cycling content. And whether it's some manufactured storylines or not, he did like it. But, yeah, we're seeing more shots of the Pello. We're seeing all of Jayco at the back, really. You see Dunbar is there.
All the boys just gathering. It's actually Ben just going back to set 2. Ben's just going back to the last wheel and he's going, that's where you all are. Come with me, boys. I'll take you to the promised land. How good is this? The cameraman's got out in front. They've got this is true Northern French weather, isn't it?
So this would be further ahead of the race, Tommy? This is a pre-recorded piece.
Yeah, absolutely. So broadcast, it's in the Moto Scout up the road. And have a look at that. They're not worried that Monday's tomorrow. It's Sunday, stage 2 of the tour. They're not worried about the rain, are they? The Fritz are warm, the beer's cold. Oh, they're in the promised land.
See, look at
he's not, is he?
Look at him he's got the yellow rain jacket. That poor man. Like, it's not fair that he has to wear that today instead of wearing, got the golden legs out. He's got the short sleeve. Cav's doing. Look at Cavendish. He's doing the rounds. Cav reported he was at the Tour Down Under. Of course, we saw him there. We did a couple of interviews with him. He was getting schmoozed at TDU, and I reckon his paycheck for that, being there for that 2 weeks, was definitely 7 figures. 7 figures. And
I was talking to Rachel Jari over at Rouleur down there, and she went and did a piece with Cav, and Cav had a gig on, he said, and they combined the two. The gig was a lunch or a dinner. It was a lunch out at a winery, out at the wine region, and it was Bernie Eisel, and Mark Renshaw in tow. So it was just the 3 of them going out and just smooth and having lunch and drinking vinos, and then she just rolled in and had like a 2-minute interview, and those 3 were on the books for that lunch. Yeah, so they were silver service, wasn't it, for those guys? So that's what happens when you come down to Tour Down Under. You get the royalty, SA Tourism. Good on them. We love them. They're big supporters from Roadside. Back to you're talking about Philipsen in the yellow. The missed opportunity here should go the yellow helmet, shouldn't he? Do you reckon he's going to get up the stage tonight? Caden.
Absolutely not.
Obviously, he climbs. Well, Caden actually genuinely, like, he's got a little bit more climbing prowess than Philipsen. He's on the same time.
This is not climbing though. This is pure punch. This is like your Strada Bianchi, Van der Poel, Pogacar style stuff. This is not. The sprinters won't be anywhere near this.
I disagree. Intermarché with Biniam Grenade.
Oh,
he's got the hot spot tonight. Arnaud Delis. We're talking about the punchers today, my friend.
you what are you talking about? Everyone, please sledge him in the comments, because Tommy, mate, this is Van der Poel and Pogacar. This is it. This is all that's going to be going for this stage. Have a look at the profile. 183 Ks to go. Peter, how you going, mate? Peter Norman, he needed the yellow helmet. So Peter Norman agrees. Needed the yellow helmets. Can you wear the yellow helmet if your team's not in the team's classification? Because the team's classification leaders are Tudor Pro Cycling, and they've wheeled out the big yellow helmet. You can check their.
We get it. You're a fan of Tudor. Move on.
No, I didn't like it. I thought it was just a bit too much. I mean, bloody hell, stage 1, and you're leading the team's classification, which is the classification that nobody cares about. But maybe he's not allowed to wear the yellow lid. Oh, how about this guy? He's got the inflatable lobster. What a flog. He's probably been there for 5 hours for that moment.
That'd be you on the side of the tour. That'd be you. You'd be standing there on the grill, ripping through mid-strength beers, and the tour would come past. And anyway. No, mate, I'm back to reiterate my point here. You're going to see a puncher win today. The climbs are not, obviously you throw Pogačar in the mix because it's just Pog. Van der Poel, yes, it suits him. But if Caden gets over it, the run uphill actually really suits him, the finale. And if Philipson's not there and Caden's there, Caden is faster than Van der Poel.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying there, but you need to have a look at this thing. The Côte de Saint-Etienne is 1.1 kilometers at 9.4%. Yeah. Do you think anyone other than UAE or Alpecin are going to be leading that out? Imagine the lead out into that bottom of that climb. It's going to be like the Forrester Arenberg lead in.
It'll be Alpecin. Alpecin will be
UAE.
Yep.
And they're going to launch
absolutely.
it.
And then exactly. And the run into it, it's fast. It's a funnel. They're going to get halfway through it before momentum dies. And then it's a 500-600 meter punch over the top.
So you think that
if they start at the front, and Caden, I guarantee they will start at the front. Caden will drift if he needs to, and he could reattach himself. Or like you said, I wouldn't be surprised as well. You even see Philipsen, if he's like, I can't get over. Philipsen will dig the screws in to try and get there. He's in yellow. I'll be interested to see if the team be like, mate, we're actually going to try and give you the chance to hold on to yellow. Or if they do completely go to Van der Poel. I'd be really curious to see what they do. But what we saw yesterday, they were an absolute clinic. And we know today, 50 Ks to go, the race turns north. So it's all full crosswinds again. So it could be a real more simplified, smaller peloton coming into that little tight area.
If there's a big lead out going into this climb, which there 100% will be, and let's say it's either Van der Poel or it's Pogačar who go in their first wheel or with one teammate in front of them. Either way, they're going to be in the top 5 wheels. They will be launching because once you get over the top and separation and people dropping gaps before, it's like 10 Ks until the finish. There's not only is the yellow jersey up for grabs here in the stage win, but there's the opportunity to take more time on your rivals who are caught out. So you can't say, Tommy, that if Pogačar or Van der Poel, one of those two, goes all out on this climb, which they will, that Caden Groves or any sprinter is going to hold on to that. They're going to be gapping everyone, and maybe Vingegaard might be sniffing there or somewhat, but there'll be gaps everywhere. That's what
there'll be bodies everywhere, absolutely. But there'll also be, some of the sprinters can get over climbs like that. So, and Caden's shown that he does that over the past. Tell you what though, I've got a gripe while we're on the topic of gripes. I understand that SBS have got to run a bit of the cultural program on this, but mate, the French cooking segment. Put this in.
Not this guy, this slobbo.
It's every night. It's every night, 7:30. You just absolutely put it in the bin.
What's his name? What's his name again?
I don't know, but he's done a good job of just the cash grab, hasn't he? We do the few gigs around here locally, but this bloke, he has just done it. He is the core of the production team for the Tour de France.
Look at him tasting it. He's in his chef. He always wears the black T-shirt. Classic chef, what is he making? Scallops with a bit of a pesto, pine nut. Scallops are weird, man. I think if you get a wrong scallop, it does your head in. Ben Dover says Mark O'Brien would have been piping hot for today. Yeah, but Mark O'Brien does love a wet stage, the great man. And Tumble My Dice, that's a strange name. What does he say? He says, the SBS coverage is really not great. If not the cooking, it's the non-stop landscape footage. Oh, I don't know, man. I reckon
they don't get a say in the matter. They don't get a say in the matter of what feed they get, though. The feed they're getting is the same feed that, say, TNT are receiving. It's the international.
Explain
feed
that more, Tommy. They might not know.
So you've got a production team, obviously running the broadcast. I actually think it's Gravity Media, who are a production company who do a lot of live sports, like they do Tour Down Under, for example, and some other big cycling events and other sports in general. You've got someone who's literally executing and making the call on what camera to cut to. So as they're going along, with the broadcast, there's some bloke going, take 10, and then someone literally has just a row of cameras on a number, and they take 10. And that's the one feed that gets put out. Interesting enough, though, TNT, Discovery, for their Giro coverage, they did have like a multi-camera view option, so like obviously you pay for the subscription. So that was really cool. So, it was a bit like, when you watch a golf tournament, you can watch a select group,
choose
you can follow a group, and they have different broadcasts for that. They actually have some feeds where there's no commentary. It's just the players. Really cool.
So you can do it with the F1 as well back in the day. But there's some defense for Plat de Tour. That's what it's called, with Guillaume Brahimi. Cameron's back in the comments, says, you leave Plat de Tour with Guillaume Brahimi alone. Came for the cooking, got stuck with the cycling. I actually don't mind it either. It's a little bit corny, but that's what I was going to say, Tom.
Yeah, good
7-Eleven. The 7-Eleven sponsorship with SBS. Now, I actually go to 7-Eleven every day, Monday to Friday, because it's what we do through work. It's a $2 coffee. And they have this little segment called the 7-Eleven coffee catch-up or something. And what they do is Dave McKenzie and Christophe Mollet, they sit there and go, who's gonna win? And they take a sip of the 7-Eleven $2.50, put it down and go, I think Phillipson will win. It is so.
The sales
I
team,
love Macca. I love them. And it's actually good coffee, to be fair. It's $2. And if you have the 7-Eleven app, now we're doing a plug for them, it's actually $1.50. You save 50 cents. But it is a little bit cheesy, mate. It's a little bit cheesy.
How's while we're on this piece of Caleb Ewan's inclusion here, they're showcasing him winning on the Champs-Elysees a while back. What are your thoughts on his inclusion in the commentary box? Obviously, throughout the Giro, we had a revolving door of commentators, and you spoke about it on one of the pods after the Giro, where we actually had Simon Gerrans. He led the commentary at one point as the call-by-call, not just providing special comments. You had, I think Bridie did a little bit as well, but the last couple of years, it's just kind of been Gero, Bridie with Matt Keenan, who is the voice of cycling here. And
he hosts.
Yeah, he's the call-by-call. And then the other two give expert analysis with a bit of flair. What are your thoughts on Ewan? I thought he was good last night. And I really liked his post-race interviews. He spoke with Caden. He spoke with a few people.
It's a good comment from Ben. I'll give you my take. Ben Dover says, Caleb needs to cut the bullshit and talk about the court case with Jaco. That's so good. That's so good.
Very good.
He was good. Peter says good was last night. Gaz, yes, same. Gaz, same usual commentary team with Dave McKenzie, Bridie O'Donnell, and Matthew Keenan, Simon Gerrans, but they are adding in sort of when there's the sprint stages, they have in Caleb. They'll probably bring in Docker for when there's some stages through Brittany with a bit of wind, etc., etc. I don't know, but that's, they like to rotate them in that aspect. And, I thought Caleb was pretty good. At times, he did add some really good insight, but then there were also a few times towards the end of the broadcast and the last sort of 15K where he didn't really have much to say and actually just repeated exactly what Keenan said because he didn't know what to say. So that's just experience. But the stuff he is adding has been really good. And, we need, on coverage like this, you need those bodies who are freshly retired because you do get to a point, if you're not a true broadcaster like Keenan or like Mackenzie's become, you do get to a point where you kind of age out of cycling, you're not up to scratch, and you think 19 mil tyres are still the way. So I do like the fresh voice, Tommy. What did you think?
No, I thought it was good. I thought it was really good. He's really relevant. He understands the battles, the intricacies of, what teams are scrapping for. Also, it's something that you notice in cricket a little bit because the broadcast is so long. They'll do revolving doors with their commentators. One in, one out, they do shifts. And over at Discovery, they do that a lot as well. Unless you're really Rob Hatch, which he kind of will come in and do the last 2 hours, and then Carlton Kirby will do like the first, so to speak.
They were the Eurosport commentators for those listening, those two.
Yeah, that's what I'm referring to. So, And I really like how they do that over there, where, Keno, he's so good. He can just do the whole lot, so to speak. But I think when you're doing the insightful comments, you've got to roll them through. And I think that, the exec producer team over there, SBS, it's a really good way to, have one extra commentator on the ground. Step out, grab lunch, come back, you're refreshed, you're focused, you're really all over it, and you can, add a little bit more insight rather than just sort of sitting in the stuffy commentary booth.
For sure.
Sure.
We're getting Bruno Amaral there on screen, by the way, Tommy. He's
Bruno
Amaral. He's just taking off the rain jacket. He's calling for the car, and he's just, they're starting to get hot now. They've been racing for 34 Ks. They're averaging 46 K an hour, so they're not pissing around.
No, they're not.
But he's just got that rain jacket and getting some advice from the team car, Decathlon, and they're getting a new sponsor next year. I think AG2R Le Mondial are leaving the team, and it will be Decathlon L'Oreal. So that's the like cosmetics brand. So
I love cycling sponsors. I love the fact that we've got Alpecin in there as a hair shampoo product. And then you got a skin product going. Anyway, good stuff. I rate it. You've got a question there. I can't read that. It's too small on my screen. What do we got?
Yeah, Tommy's got he doesn't. He's got bad eyes, but Benny Dover's back. He says, lads, don't blue ball us like Caleb. He needs to talk about the court case. Am I right? Gaz says, preach it. He does. I don't know if he's probably not allowed to, because it did get pretty messy with Jaco, and I had Caleb's actual close friends, and we talked about it on the podcast, and I had his close mates message the page, DM, and actually give the 411 as to what actually happened. So I've got a little bit of insight there, but put it this way, it was both camps did a little bit of wrong, but one maybe more so than the other. But he's probably not allowed to talk about it, let alone on live TV. But I think he'll do it on a I tell you what, though, I think Caleb. Here we go. This is the litter zone. When we were at the Tour de France Femmes last year, watching the grown men scramble for bidons from the riders, that were tossing them out during rarest stages of the tour when we were there. There were grown 50-year-old men fighting over bidons that were getting tossed on the ground. And, I thought it was a bit, I don't know, for kids, go crazy, but I reckon adults, it's a bit much.
Yeah, it's a lot, isn't it? Yeah, it's a weird sight. And even you've seen videos in the past as well. We're in the mix zone post where riders just come through after the stage, and it's just this frenetic scramble. But I don't know, it's something that's cycling. Everyone's derobing. Maybe they're coming up to the part of with the parkour. They're making their way out to the coast today here, and
they're starting to climb too.
Yeah, they are. But also they're starting to, like you said, they haven't slacked off at all, have they? So
no, they have 46 K an hour. So, I mean, these days, that's actually pretty standard. But they are moving. They're starting to, I love that national champs jersey. Like, listen, it's Norwegian.
What did you make, actually, as they rolled out yesterday out of Lille? Did you notice that they had all the national champs jerseys gather towards the front of the peloton for the neutral?
Yeah, I like that. They had Durba up the front. They had Tom Squinge. They had, all of them there. It was quite cool. And you've got Fedorov. So he's the national Kazakhstan champion.
You nearly got that wrong, didn't you?
Oh, he almost put his jacket into the rear wheel of that X-Lab bike.
He's going well. And speaking of X-Lab, XDS have committed to the Astana project for the next few years. So they're continuing their journey with the Kazakhstan team. The Chinese brand.
On our page here, where people can see on the stream with Pro Cycling Stats, I've actually got the points per team up to this date compared to previous last year's season. And Astana...
I don't need to talk points.
No, but this is an interesting thing. Astana have scored three times the amount of points they scored last year at this point of the season. 6,800 points, World Tour points, and last year they only scored 2,500. So they've tripled it, and a lot of that has come through Aaron Gate joining their team. Lutsenko's had a couple of wins, and Scaroni as well, taking those early wins. So Astana basically saving their World Tour license as Brent Van Moor. He gets a beat on. They just top up the electrolytes. He's getting the food.
What while we're seeing riders back at the car, what did you make yesterday? So we had 2 riders who had concussion issues. So Pipo Garner, he crashed, got assessed, and then we saw the same with Stefan Bissiger, the big Swiss rider at Decathlon, and they both stepped off the bike, after being on the bike. So it was good to see that the concussion protocol was taken seriously. But what did you make of the fact that the commissaire was right there onto Garner, who was well and truly out the back of the race? He was past Lenny Martinez. He was right out the arse. And they were like, no, get off the car. You cannot use the car to get back.
Yeah, that was strange because later on in the race, Thibaut Nice, he crashed and he was able to sit back in the cars and he didn't have a concussion protocol at all. And he got back through the cars, no problem. So, that's so wishy-washy when they do that. I did like that the concussion protocol, as we see Brian Coquard here, just changing his bike. I'd like that it was actually enforced.
He took his shoe covers off.
Oh, well, whatever. Same thing, An innocuous stop for Brian Coquard. Look at him. He's pretty happy. How early did he go in the intermediate sprint yesterday, the great man, Brian Coquard? But I didn't mind that we saw the concussion protocol at least enacted. It wasn't perfect, but it actually did its job. It did its job. Funny enough, he actually passed the concussion protocol, so he actually did it. It didn't do his job. But then later on, as we see, Pogacar's probably just taking the piss. Later on, Garner started to develop concussion symptoms. And that is when Ineos said, no, stop. You've got to stop now. So in that sense, it was actually Ineos and the communication with Garner that did the work to get him out of the race before he did any long-term damage. So maybe the concussion protocol isn't quite perfect yet.
Yeah, it's never going to be, is it? Unless they can develop a way to be able to help the rider get back. You can't disadvantage the rider from submitting into concussion protocols. Otherwise, you just get that age-old football-like mentality where, big head clash and the trainer runs out and says, "Oh, mate, you good?" And he's always, "Yeah, I'm fine. So you've got to have some sort of solution where there's a compromise. How good does Poggy look in the rainbow bands?
Yeah, he looks good. Even the black alternative kit rainbows. He's rolling those pink Cyclone sunglasses. What do we think of those? That seems to be just something a little bit different that he's added to his style points. I don't know about the pink ones. I think
they're not super. Not a fan.
Let that do the talking.
Yeah, not a fan. I like the if they're 100%ers, maybe get around that. Oh, there he is, the big man, Mark Cavendish. The big squeeze, going to the break. I think the quote of the day yesterday was one of the best quotes I saw emerge out of yesterday was Geraint Thomas. He stopped, he got to the end, and he's I should have retired last year. And I thought that was good. That just summarises modern cycling at the moment, doesn't it? How frenetic it is.
Yeah, Thomas is good, isn't he? I hope he goes straight into broadcast, Geraint Thomas, because he's not afraid to say what he thinks and. Yeah, he's going to be good for his post-racing career. But actually, you know what? He's not going to broadcast because he's going as a sports director for Ineos Total Energies. So they're actually going back to their roots, Tommy, because they brought back Dave Brailsford. They've brought back the OG Adidas sponsorship, which is what they had in the old days. They're bringing Geraint Thomas back on the team. They're doing the old school. We're releasing the Tour de France roster 3 days before the tour. The riders didn't even know, and it was because Dave Brailsford was really being picky about who goes. So they are going right back to what led them to be successful in the early stages of Team Sky to try and, of course, return to that successful period. And I really, really like it.
Yeah, I'm a fan of it. They were a powerhouse, weren't they? Just for so long, they were just so good. Obviously, end of the day, they did have the budget. As we see a replay of the sprint, they had the budget to be able to go away and get the best rider and then build the team around it. So that helps. Imagine if the Poggy was with that team in that era, he just would have had more success. Anyway, oh man, there is not many smiles today in the peloton, is there? There is, yesterday, obviously, it was pretty hectic, but today, you think with the second stage, the Jersey, one big sprint team's going to ride all day and the others are just going to sit back and there's going to be one or two riders in the breakaway, like Arkea or something or Total. And today we're just going to be in for another treat, aren't we? 50 Ks to go. It's just going to blow up again, or at least you're just going to see that stress in the bunch. Everybody just start to ride it back. It's going to be good.
Yeah, we will. The intermediate sprint, can you find out when that first one is? I think it might be at 150 Ks to go, and the first mountain points come at about 105 Ks to go, and that'll come pretty quickly. We're already at 42 kilometers in this race, and we saw those two yesterday just go crazy. Benjamin Thomas and the other bloke. And
that was shocking, wasn't it?
It was, I'll say it on the podcast later because, of course, we'll do a podcast for stages 1 and 2 right after the end of this stage, which will be on tomorrow, Monday. So make sure you're following along. But my take for Benjamin Thomas and the other rider, I've got his name. I'll have to get it up. My take is this: when they were sprinting and he crashed the other guy for 1 point. Mate, Benjamin Thomas, you are an Olympic gold medalist. He won the Omnium gold medal in Paris last year in front of thousands of French fans who were screaming his name. He'll never have to pay for anything ever again in France. And he's scrapping for one mountain point on the first stage of the Giro of the Tour. Like, Thomas, you don't need to lower your colours for scraps, mate. You're an Olympic gold medalist. And that's what Conti riders do, mate. They crash themselves for 1 point or a $50 preem, not Olympic gold medalists. So I feel like Benjamin Thomas just needed to remember that he's got a big gold medal around his neck.
Nah, put yourself in the bin, Jethro. Mate, you're for a Tour de France jersey. It's for the polka dot jersey. He has that much respect for it. That's what he wants, mate. Put yourself in the bin, my friend. He was that keen. And that could honestly be his Tour de France. He could just be riding Gruppetto or riding for Bookman later on. So how did Groves manage to avoid this? Look at O'Connor, just head over biscuit.
Oh, is this the crash late in the stage?
Just on the crash again, yeah. Because did you see Groves when he finds his groove, when he avoids it and he finds that front wheel and he just sits on it? Bloody entertaining, isn't it? Hey, his bike handling skills.
He did well. Yeah, he did do very well. I'm bringing up Benjamin Thomas' his stats because he is one of the best endurance track riders in the world, but he's also got quite a few pro wins. He's got 10 professional wins, and he doesn't need to be scrapping. He's got a stage of the Giro d'Italia, which he won last year, an Olympic gold medal, scrapping for a mountain jersey point, and crashing himself in the protest. And making him look like he made himself look like a degrader who's never raced before. You
guys got to be
and Heinrich. Yeah. Heinrich Strobel, big fan, lads, just muted the SBS feed and switched to Roadside Live. I don't mind that, Hein Dog. He agrees with you, though, about polka dot. Polka dot is polka dot. Can't wear his Olympic medal at the Tour de France. Well, yeah, that's a good point. But Richard Carapaz, and look at Remco's bike. He's got the gold bike, but fair take. Polka dot is polka dot, even if he's on for one stage.
Absolutely. All the rain jackets, mate, they're coming off, aren't they? Weather must be getting slightly better, or at least we're getting to the point maybe where the riders, they're all starting to think about what's coming up ahead. I'm talking about that 50K mark where we're going to have that. That's where the first intermediate sprint point is for the day. And that's been pinpointed, by the general publicist and me sitting at home. That's when we're going to really
intermediate
with around 55 kilometers remaining.
Oh, so, they can see it on the screen. It's the green circle on the screen. The Enoch, correct? Enoch.
Yeah, pronounce that one for me, please. So yeah, we're going to see the route sort of zigzags a little bit before that. These Hungry Jacks ads, just put it in the bin. I can't do 3 weeks of this.
It's an ad break now, but I'll bring up some of the stats on pro cycling stats that are coming up here on screen that people can see. And I read the report for the UCI last night about the fines that were handed out on stage 1. And Matthew Heyman got 2 fines worth 500 Swiss francs. You can see them there, Team DS, and then one for Reinders, who actually got a sticky bottle for too long for 200 Swiss francs. But Heyman was being a little bit of a naughty boy, and he copped $1,000 worth of fines in the first stage. Yeah. So
what was the reason?
Disregarding the commissaire's instructions. So obviously telling them to get fucked. And it would have been 100%. It would have been for Reinders, who got a sticky bottle and a big toe. He would have been telling the commissaires would have been on the horn, and And Heyman would have said, hey, get fucked. We're getting this guy back to the Pello. Oh, while we got an ad break, Tommy, should I tell the story about how I almost destroyed the Jayco camper van back at 2022?
Yeah, tell that story, but then we're going to have a quick look at the start list, and we're going to have a look at some other possible riders who can win today.
Okay. Well, yeah, while we're on ad break, 164 Ks to go. We've got 45 Ks in the bank so far. Fair on a break, pissing with rain, but back in 2022, we had the Bay Crits in Geelong, a famous criterium sort of series held just before the Australian Nationals. And I had to drive, after we finished commentating, I had to drive the Jayco camper van that one of the teams were using at the Bay Crits. I had to drive it to Ballarat to give to Matthew Heyman, and so they could use it for the Australian Nationals that was happening the following week, and they needed
an invoice for this
as their team bus. Iffy, the great Sean Trevorrow, just gave it to me because I needed a lift. He goes, hey, look, just drive this across and there's your lift. And anyway, this thing was parked up on a big curb in the middle of Ritchie Boulevard in Geelong on the coast, the famous Criterium hot dog circuit. And I had no idea how to get it down because the curb was huge, mate. It was like a metre high. And I remember sitting in the camper van. This is brand new. It was for sale. Like, it's one out of the lot. So Jerry's just picked one out of the lot from Jayco. And anyway, so I'm sitting in this camper van. I just think, well, it got up here. It'll have to get down here. So instead of just putting one wheel down and then the next wheel down, I just went straight over the curb. And I kid you not, I heard the shatter come in the back where the kitchen and the bathroom was at the back of the camper, and I thought I had destroyed everything in the back. Cups and shit came out of the cupboards. Like, I bottomed out the caravan. This is a brand new bit of kit, probably 10 Ks on the clock, and I hadn't even started driving yet. And it was late at night, 9:30. We had to go to the hotel. I just parked it up. I didn't even look behind me, and I said, it's been a big day. I turned to Megan, my wife, and I said, let's just shut the door. We won't look. And we'll come back tomorrow morning. Let's just get some sleep. And luckily, it was actually okay. So when I handed it over to Heyman, later that day when I drove to Ballarat, he asked me the question. He goes, nothing broken, mate? And I was like, no, it's all good. Oh, big crash.
Big crash. Yeah, Fedorov, he's down, as well as the other national champ, Leknitson.
Oh, they've all... Oh.
Just the pair of them. Oh, now you hold your breath. When you see the breakaway sliding down, the peloton's coming in, hopefully a little bit softer. You go, oh, let's just take it easy. Let's just take it easy, boys. We don't need this.
So Fedorov took them through the corner first. He went through first. He's slid out. It's still wet roads. It's pissing with rain. He slid out. Amaral and Brent Van Meer were fine in second and third wheel, but then Leknesson's obviously grabbed a handful of brake. He's completely washed out both wheels and gone down. And now we've got bloody Amaral, and we might have seen a crash of the same Amarai and Leknesson. They're 20 seconds back, and it looks like the peloton may have had a little bit of a bingle as well, as we've just seen. Who is that there? Is that Navarez? So Philipsen, has he come down, Tommy? Oh, I think he's come down, mate. We're going to get some replay. He's there with Remco.
Remco's there as well.
Now we're seeing Tim Merlier.
He's having an issue. He's getting a front wheel change. Never a dull moment at the Tour, is there?
Oh, wet roads. And that'll speed up.
A dull moment.
That will speed up the peloton. And Leknesson doesn't crash a lot. We're seeing the stats come up here. The last time he crashed, recorded, was in stage 5 of the Dauphiné last year in Basque Country in 2021. So Leknesson can handle his bike. And now we'll probably see, Tom, that some of the teams get to the front and just, here we go, just protect himself.
I'm going to wheel out the classic line that every commentator is going to be, the peloton, they'll be told in their ear by the director, there's the corner coming up, that's slippery, you go left. So they're all going to know about it, aren't they?
Yeah, they will. Heinrich asked to comment on our page and comment. There's any questions as well that you want us to answer. Everyone that's tuning in, thanks for watching. By the way, I need to know, are you guys sleeping in the Arvo to prep for this? Are you resigning yourselves to 3 weeks of sleep deprivation?
We're prepping for this.
My prep was 3 hours at the driving range with my main man, Brady. So that was my prep, and I got to get up at 5.
New clubs, new irons, of course.
Yes.
You'd be shanking them everywhere.
No. I was flushing them, mate. Flushing them out of the middle. So Tim Merlier, he's getting a bit of a toe back from Lidl Trek. That's a bit kind, isn't it?
Don't mind that. They're all friends. They're all friends, aren't they? Until the last sort of 10K, so to speak. They've all got to help each other. Breakaway, they're putting themselves back together, our original quartet. Am I right? Fedorov, Van Moor, Leknesund. Good group of 4. They'll work well. They'll go deep this 4 until the peloton ramp things up, until the chaos really comes from behind. What happened from behind, though? Was that just when we saw Remco, Phillips, and we saw them a few moments ago? They were all just sort of scrambling through the convoy, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. I think maybe they were coming back from a piss break or something like that. As we see, Leknesund, he's probably just getting his main bike back on, because I have a feeling that he's not on his actual race bike right now. He's probably just had a bike change and he's getting his new one back. But I don't know. It might have just been just a bit of it was a dog leg corner to the left, so they might have just been bunched up, and maybe some of those riders were coming back from a piss. Often it happens. The GC riders, like if Remco stops for a piss, then maybe Jasper will go, "Oh fuck, I'll piss too," and then Pog will go, "Oh, if they're pissing, I'll piss," and then they all come back together. It's a bit of a safer way. You're kind of hedging your bets that you'll get back, and also more team helpers to make it easy for you to return to the peloton. But
how bleak?
It looks grim.
Yeah. This is grim, isn't it? This is really grim. Like, this is what I imagine like riding in Melbourne is. Just going out, chopping off, and pissing down rain every week. This is bleak, isn't it? And it's also just more bleak knowing that you're going to be going into a crosswind section, a few climbs as well, tight, twisty finale, bit of stress.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot more to come, and the rain isn't going to stop either. So they're about to reach the highest point of today's stage as well. By the way, they're sort of climbing up about 56 k's in. They will hit that highest point, and then they'll descend down a bit of a steep descent. So that descent will be interesting to watch and see how the peloton navigates that, as Alpecin are still controlling with a bit of help from
Intermarché.
Is that Intermarché? Okay, so
yeah, mate, they've been on the front all day because Biniam Grimet is a prime candidate as a puncher to win today.
How about this, Tommy? It's MBY comments. Jasper Phillips won't win today. I agree with that. I will pay for our next 3 golf rounds, 18 full rounds. I'll pay for you if Biniam Girmay, Phillipson, or any of the main sprinters are within 1 minute of the stage winner today. If I'm right, you've got to pay for the next 3 rounds.
Oh, that's a lot, hey?
That's how confident I am that they will not be a sprinter in sight in this finale.
Yeah, you know what? I never said Biniam Grimet I wouldn't even throw in as your genuine sprinter, and he's not. And Ewan said that last night. He was asked, he was propositioned by Keenan, and he was said, "Oh, how's Biniam Grimet going to go?" And he went, "Oh, probably not that well. This is before all the splits had been caused." And honestly, he's not. Is he? He's a puncher, but he's a fast man. He's got a fast, rapid finish. So and he always
he's like a cigar.
Yeah, I dare say he is. Yeah, very similar. So maybe he doesn't climb as well. But I look at him and I'm like, tonight suits him, mate. Like he rides those classics. He'll get over. At least want to give himself the chance to get over those climbs. The team will be fully committed to him.
What do you think, everyone? Tommy doesn't really want to take that bet, does he? Doesn't really want to take that bet. And by the way, the golf courses are the real expensive ones. We're playing at the Cut, as we've seen. Are you allowed to do that? That bull looks like it's not happy. Look at it chained up.
Someone's getting married. Is that a wedding dress? What's going on here?
It is. So, look, she's got a pint as well. So someone's getting married on tour day. I don't mind that. That's pretty nice.
What about Thibaut Nice? I said earlier we were going to speak about riders who could win. Trek, Lidl, they'll be in with Thibaut Nice today.
Yes,
for sure. I think
he crashed hard yesterday, mate. Otherwise, I think you're right. He would have been all over it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was top.
Who else are you sort of throwing around? Arnaud Delis, he's got to be sort of all in for today, doesn't he? What about Warrenskild? He could have a bit of a run of things as well. The man who was third on yesterday's stage. Do I dare say someone like Lawrence Piffy? If it's hard enough,
that's now you're getting closer. You're getting closer now. You're getting closer.
You think you're it though. You think you're all over with how this finale is going to play out, mate.
I am.
I think you've got no grip. You've got slippery, clammy fingers. You've my friend.
You have got no idea about this day. Have you look the profiles on our screen, mate? Have a look at it. Have a look at this profile. I'm looking at the start list now, Tommy. I'm looking at the start line, trying to look for another type.
You're looking at the start list, isn't it?
It is. Who I'm looking. I mean, yeah, you're right with Thibaut Nice. If he hadn't crashed yesterday, for sure would have been someone. Vauquelin. Is that the guy from Arkea? Vauquelin. He's
Kevin
definitely
Vauquelin.
one. Yeah, Vauquelin. Yeah, and also
he won a stage last year, but also he had a good tour of Swiss. He was in that opening move in the first stage. I think he won a week-long 2.1 down southern France, early spring. He's had a good Ardennes. Arkea will be all in with him today, but also I don't know if he has the punch because it's going to be a reduced bunch sprint. There's still going to be 30, 40 riders coming to this finish at a minimum, so to speak. So
he's got the punch. He's got the punch.
I don't reckon he does, mate. I reckon Caden. It could be Caden's night. Lids off. All the boys on the sunny coast will just be absolutely having it if he gets up.
He's got the punch. This is like a Flèche Wallonne stage. This is like the finals, like Flèche Wallonne. It's similar to the Flèche Wallonne. It is. And guess who finished second in that? Your man.
Mate, you're talking about the Flèche Wallonne that finishes on the Mer de Haye, the Mer de Huy. That is what, like 3 kilometers at 10%. This is the final climb is 3% average. It's not even really a climb. It's a gradual. It's a gradual run up to the finish line.
The second last climb of La Flèche Wallonne, Tommy, is 1.3 kilometres at 7.6%. That's the second last climb. The second last climb of the day today, or third last, but pretty much same thing, is 1.1k at 9.4%. This is only the punchers. This is your Pogacar going all in. The sprinters, they won't be anywhere, and I'll be playing golf for free for a month. I'm playing golf for free for a month.
You idiot. You're off the mark. You are so off the mark. 9 kilometers. They crest the category 3 climb. And then they've got the category 4 climb that they crest with 5 kilometers remaining. And then from there, it's inside the Flamme Rouge, the last kilometer. It's just a gradual 3% up to the line.
These comments. Look at this one. Warrior for Democracy says, there's a risk I will get a brain aneurysm if I listen to Australian English for too long.
I do dial it back when we record pods, but yeah.
Shit. Oh, no chance for Groves, Heinrich says. There's nothing he gets over that Jasper doesn't get over. If he makes it to the end, he's leading out. No. Groves is a better climber at longer climbs. Better. He's better. He as far as sprinters go, he's better at the 20-minute, 25-minute climbs. He can get over those, whereas someone like Jasper couldn't. But I agree, Jasper's better at the punchier climbs. As you can see on screen here, it's still pissing down with rain with the Pello. We've got, is that Mauro Schmidt coming back from? Is that him?
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's
long
him.
sleeve. Oh, that is a good looking kit. Yeah. That they know how to do it. Where can I watch live? Biniam, my man. Are you from Eritrea, Biniam? Let us know. I actually don't know. It depends on your country because it depends if your country has the feed. Like, for example, my wife Megan, she's in New Zealand right now and it's geo-blocked. She can't watch the SBS feed in New Zealand because they block it for regions because Australia paid for the broadcast. New Zealand didn't.
SBS
so you have to
for the broadcast. Did you remember a couple of years ago where SBS didn't? There was no geo blocker on GCN when SBS, and then there was a review halfway through the tour, and SBS were like, "Our numbers are terrible. It's because everyone could still watch GCN." Yeah. And then they got on to ASO. Yeah. They were on the phone to ASO as quickly as they could, and they were like, "Put this geo blocker on GCN in Australia. What is going on?" Tobias Voss, he's got a puncture. He's just
Jesus, a
reining
few
it in.
punches here. Oh, here we go. What's going on here? This is
the Belgian national champion.
Is that Benoot? No, Wellens.
No,
what's he doing?
Wellens.
Is he throwing up?
Just stretching out his back. Maybe he is.
So they're doing something to the front end of his handlebars, but it looked like he was kind of. Why is Bidon's over on the bush there?
And they've cut away from him as well. The cameraman specifically cut away from Wellens there. There's something, there's a fair bit on the road. We have seen a lot of punctures, haven't we? A lot of mechanicals, a lot of issues.
Yeah, they're running race tyres, aren't they? They're running those pure, brand new out-of-the-box race tyres, which, they don't have great punch protection. We know what it's like when it's wet on any of our roads. I'm sure it's, the same in every country that everyone's listening to right now. Like, you always get this.
Wellens was having a nature break, and he's probably just didn't want to do a zipper all the way down, so he was hunched over to get little pecker out.
Yeah.
I think that's the idea. What do you reckon of Biniam in the white on the left there?
I was about to say the same thing. Yeah, it looks really, really good. Yeah.
Yeah, so does
got to bend over to get the hog out. He looks good, Biniam, as they're all starting to piss now. We're starting to see dicks everywhere on screen. But Biniam, he does look good. But I've got a gripe with Biniam as much as I'm a fan of him.
You have a gripe with someone.
He needs to shave his head because he's holding on to just like four bits of hair. He needs to just shave it. African people look really nice with the bald head. They just have nice shaped
heads. They want to listen. They want to hear what you have to say. Let's put this in a summary and send an email.
Bidiam Yamane, he's in the chat. They always look really nice because they got the nice shaped head. Us sort of like Anglo-Saxons look weird with shaved heads, but Bidiam,
you should shave yours. You should shave yours and then send him a photo of what it should look like.
I'll look like a cone head if I do that.
Okay, we've done. How long are we going for tonight as well? Are we just going to do the next 150 kilometres?
Well, people are enjoying this, so I think as long as people are enjoying it, we'll keep going because this is a trial. We want to do this for the big mountain stages, by the way, everyone watching. So we'll pick the major days in the tour, and we'll do these lives because we do want to provide an alternative look from our point of view, don't we, Tommy?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Maybe on those big weekend days, we'll get together and watch it from the same couch, have a bit of fun. We tend to dribble a little bit more when we are live on location in the studio, so to speak. Sylvain Dillier, he's in the office on the front here. Has not moved, has he? I don't even know who he's sharing the duties with over at Intermarché, but I thought it was pretty impressive yesterday, the fact that Alpecin went straight to the front. They took up the responsibility straight from the get-go. I thought that was bloody impressive. Yeah,
absolutely. We're getting a few notes from the Bahrain Victorious team radio just saying to eat and drink. Yep, we all know that. Pretty boring. But, they took it up. They knew they had the team to get this job done. And I like when teams do that. They say, hey, don't ask for any help. Just, you're not going to get any. Take it up. Control the break early, which is what they did. And eventually it came back. And, when that big split happened, they had basically their entire lead out in there. They had Ricard, they had Vermeesh, they had Van der Poel, Caden Groves, and Philipsen. And then Johnny Milan was one out. Toynerson was one out. Gourmet was one out. And Alpecin, it was a clinic. So excuse me, they, as we see, who's this Fedorov? He's just washing off a bit of the dirt. He's probably grazed his skin under the old bib. So that's the one thing, isn't it, Tom, about crashing in the wet? You usually just sort of slide along and you don't grate your skin as much. So that's the one positive, despite it being more dangerous.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you're a bit of a slip and slide, so to speak, but something you never want to end up, obviously, having to deal with. So we just watch them ease their way around the corner. This is typical. Yeah, it is. Yeah, so we're getting a bit of a good look at it, and it'll be interesting as well to see how the Pello 150k to go. Like they're going to amble along. They've kept them on a pretty tight leash today, haven't they? Have a look at that flag though. Block headwind.
2.5 minutes. Yeah, 2.5 minutes so far as we go to an ad break. What's it for? This is maybe Uber Eats.
Call to wrap it up. That's insurance, mate.
Is it?
Yes, mate. We saw this like 80 times last night. These are imprinted into my brain already.
How much would one of these ads? You've worked in sort of the radio world as a producer. What would an advert cost?
No,
I reckon there'd be $5,000.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I don't know. Let's find out. We'll put a question to someone. Surely someone on the stream can know.
I'll ask Mr. Bonjour, Christian Mallet. I'll ask him. He'll tell me.
What is in the sales department at
SBS? Well, he's in everything department. I think there's people at SBS who wear many hats. What about the lineup for UAE? I'll just bring that up on our screen here. They've just popped it up on Pro Cycling Stats. Today, Pogacar, Yao Almeida, Adam Yates, Tim Wellens, Sivakov, Narvaez, Mark Solar Panel Soler, and the big teeth, Niels Pollitt. That is a stomping team, isn't it, when we get towards the mountains in particular?
Yeah, no, it certainly is. And they sort of failed to fire though yesterday, didn't they? And they were a little bit skinny, weren't they, mate? When we saw push come to shove on the flats, I think we saw Visma's team really shine through with the depth. How impressive was it though, as well, for Uno X? Just the Scandinavians, weren't they just in their element? The big four. There was 4 big units who'd made the split. Weren't they just? They were just so comfortable then.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there were some riders that really showed. Some of the older dogs in that front split did a great job. They just showed how important they are. Like Matteo Trentin, he was really the instigator, and he's just there, isn't he, all the time in those moments. He's like 36 years old, but some of those big classic dogs, as Lanterne Rouge would put it, they're pretty useful in those moments. Mezgets, again, he's like 35, always there in the splits. They really showed just their strengths in those moments, despite being maybe sort of one-trick ponies when they get over the age of 33. A few questions in the comments. What's your most hated cycling-related expense, Tommy, whilst we're on an ad break? Something that annoys you that has to be paid for. Gaz Cubby says, Cycling day license.
Yeah, that would be it. That would honestly be it. Just the price of the Oz cycling license.
Peter Norman.
We're paying for it at the moment. We don't have any racing over here at the moment. Like WA racing scene has been pretty up and down. There's a lot of great humans who do a lot of, put on a lot of time and effort into getting races going. And yeah, there's just, opportunities sort of there, and the license, the fee just comes out of the bank account every month. So might have to follow that up with Oz cycling and put a halt on that.
For mine, it's tubes. Tubes do my head in. Buying tubes, it's just they're way too expensive for what they are. Because some tubes, there's latex tubes. I haven't bought some, but buying latex TPU tubes, they're like $30 a pop. It's like there's no chance on earth I'm spending $30 on a tube. I don't care what it is. And if I see someone with a latex tube, that's just wasting your money. And we're back on screen now. 100.
You know what I did buy? I did buy from Magine, great supporters of our podcast, from FE Sports. I did buy a few of their tubes, some of the latex tubes. So eat your heart out. I'm going to be absolutely flying in the bunchies with some fast tubes.
Good man, Tommy. 149 Ks to go. The gap is 2 minutes 31, and the peloton are now on that descent I was talking about before. They're just coming off it. And there's a few riders at the back there just taking it easy, like number 83. I think that is Thibaut Nice. So he crashed yesterday. He's probably, just wanting to take a little bit easy. As we see, today is the 800th career race day for Anthony Turgis, equaling that equals 2 years and 70 days of racing for Turgis, who was 4th on the stage yesterday. So he's had a really good start.
Yeah, he was really good last night, wasn't he? Hey, he was never going to be faster than Philipsen, was he? He was always just battling for, so to speak, a podium place on the stage. I think he would have had to get lucky, the young man. But he did win a stage last year, Turgis, at the Tour. It was sort of their breakthrough for the whole team, so to speak, at Total. When he took a stage of victory, I think that was the biggest surprise, wasn't it? Last year, we saw Bardet win, we saw Kevin Vauquelin win at RK, and then we saw Turgis from Total. And everyone went, what's going on here? So all the French teams cashed in.
Yeah. Terzi's had a really good Paris-Roubaix. I think he finished second one year, didn't he? At Paris-Roubaix from memory. That was his breakout.
Let me check you on that.
Check that out. I'm pretty sure he finished second at either Flanders or Roubaix. I'm pretty sure it's Roubaix. He's been top 10 in Roubaix 3 times now, I believe. Who do you think's going to win?
Second at San Remo.
Go back further enough. I'm sure of it.
It would come up.
Put in the comments. Who do you think is going to win today on today's stage? Put it in the comments.
Yeah, who do you reckon wins?
Who do I think wins?
Come on, you've been flaky. You've been avoiding.
Pogačar. No, mate, I put the bet down and you didn't take it. Mr. Pogačar wins easily. I think Van der Poel goes with him for a little bit, but then he gets dagged because he's not in good form or he's a little bit sick. And look,
you're seriously overestimating how hard these climbs are.
Well, who do you think wins? You haven't picked anyone. You just said who might be there.
Yeah, and I'm good at doing that, mate. Just getting a little bit of a grouping together, just throwing some money, dispersing a few financial investments across there, staying the odds. You've got to do that, don't you? Get the multi. No, look, it is hard to go past Van der Poel, isn't it? I think if it does come down to it, that reduced bunch, I think he will be one of the front runners.
But who's going to win? Who's going to win, Tom? Don't say front runners. Okay, you said he might be one of the front runners. He didn't say he's going to win. You have to pick a winner.
Ooh, it's a difficult proposition, isn't it? Just who's going to get over the climb, who's going to make it difficult, who's going to control, I think you look at it and I think it will be someone like, I'll go Van der Poel.
Okay, I like it. That's a good choice.
Nah, it's not. It's a weak choice. He's on form. He looks good. He was there. He was proactive yesterday. The stage suits him. It's an easy choice. I wouldn't mind seeing someone like Biniam get up. That'd be exciting. That'd be a good call.
Heinrich says with Total jumping on Ineos, that whole team is up for new contracts or is folding. Terzi's gets signed first for sure. Well, no doubt Terzi's would be one of the first to be signed if Total Energies was to fold. But I did read as a part of their announcement with Ineos that Total Energies are still going to sponsor the team next year through to 2026. And then after 2026, that's when, end of 2026 is when the Total deal ends. So they've got 1 year essentially guaranteed. But yeah, you'd have to think that unless they got another sponsor on board, that those riders would be looking to get out of there. And Terzi's is definitely he's probably the one. Harry Sweeney, he's on form. He was in that split.
Ooh,
so Harry Sweeney's been suggested. He was in the front split. He's in good shape. In fact, he was the one that made... He was. I think he was the one that caused Ben O'Connor to crash, was he not?
No, that was Martin Vandenberg.
Oh, the other EF rider. Okay.
Yeah, it was, mate. Sweeney, he's not that bad of a bloke, so no. Yeah, Sweeney, he's going well, isn't he? He was fifth in that individual TT at Tour of Swiss. That was a mountaintop finish. So he's absolutely moving. He's got the form. He's, obviously he's got the weight dialed in. He's going well. So wouldn't that be?
Did you see that photo, Tommy, of the EF riders with their shirts off?
No.
So they posted they posted a photo on their Twitter page. EF did with their whole Tour de France team. They all had their shirts off with the rigs out, and obviously these cyclists are lean, mean machines, and there was just not an ounce of body fat to be seen on any of these riders. And I think they're going to do a little tour calendar. As we get the images of Jörg Zimmermann, he's the German national champion this year, isn't it? It's those ones with the block colours, like your French, your Belgium, your French. Oh, I said French. Your Dutch. They should be the whole jersey should be block colours, not a little couple of lines like that.
Just look what Maro's done. Look how they've done it. Like it's just go all out. The French national champ jersey, they've done it pretty well over the last couple of years for the Tricolore. They always shown great respect for it. They generally do it as well, the French champ, with very little advertising on the jersey, like when we've seen Arnaud Démare in the previous years have it. And he's just had no sponsored kit on it. No sponsors on it. It's just been the pure French flag.
I think that's a Groupama FDJ. So that's Mark Matteo, the team owner. That is his specific rules. He does, when they have a national champ, there are no sponsors on their jersey to do it justice for the French one. So, as much as that Mark Matteo is a bit of a weirdo, he's got some good values for a bit of style too. Oh, the sun is out. Look at these kids. The sun is out now. So that's one thing you do like, isn't it? When you've been racing in the rain for ages and then the sun starts to come out, you feel that you get that feeling of the sun on your skin. You're starting to just dry out a bit. It's a bit of a morale boost for these riders up front.
Yeah, it certainly would be. I think it is going to be a bit of an awakening though, because sun comes out, the domestics, they've got to go back with the jerseys, the rain jackets, get rid of those, drop those off. It's a bit of a chore. But it would be a welcomed situation for the leaders. Rush on the front here. He's starting to swing a little bit, isn't he?
Yeah, he's had a big shift so far. He's done a lot of work on the front for Intermarché, so they're obviously showing a lot of confidence in their man, Biniam Girmay, for today's stage. And he's been nowhere all year, Biniam Girmay. He's had a stinker of a season. He's probably had too many Koppenbergs over the off season, and that carried on into this season. But he has, no doubt, credit to him, he's turned up in shape for the Tour despite a pretty shit year.
No, he certainly has, which I like that. That's all he needs to rock up for us. We see Alaphilippe, your man. I reckon he's going to do something special this year's Tour. I think he's due for a stage, which I really hope he gets one. Wouldn't that just be, for Tudor as well, first Tour de France. Nab a stage, you coming back next year, so to speak. Mate, we've been going for about an hour and 15 minutes. Are we going to be doing this for just the whole stage?
Well, let's keep rolling. The numbers are good. Everyone's having a good enjoying this. Let's just keep going. How about this? I reckon we should go to that first mountain climbing classification, because that takes us to about 9 o'clock, 9:15, 9:30. I reckon that's when most people are going, righto, time to go to bed for Monday morning.
Here we go. We got Macca on screen.
I think they're just talking about the media and where all the cars go. So Macca usually is on the coverage for the broadcast, but as they brought on Bridie and they brought in people like Caleb and Gero, Macca's kind of the start and finish man. He does these pieces. They record to camera before the stage, so this is not live. They would have done these pieces early, and they put these in when the race needs a bit of information, because it's a bit of a snooze fest at the moment, isn't it? With the gap is at 2:33, and what I'm interested to see, because it starts to descend down now before they get to that first mountains classification, we're going to get Benjamin Thomas. He's going to be going for the points again, and let's just see how many people go with him, because those points can be up for grabs.
Yeah, they will, won't they? And he'll be wanting to bank that when they get to that first climb. He's got to snag points there, doesn't he? To just protect what he has. Bruno Amarai, the Frenchman, he was in the break yesterday. He'll be keen on getting a few of those if he can, particularly if he's out in front. Get him for nothing, so to speak. This will be the pattern, won't it? Until, I dare say, we hit that climb, that first category 4, and then we kind of veer a little bit more northwest, and the wind could become a little bit more of a factor. This could be a chance. Yeah, have a look at him. He could be a man for today.
He's having a bit of a joke, yeah.
Yeah, he is. I did hear that, with Red Bull, they're getting around Lipovic and Roglic today. They're really treating today like a GC day. I don't think they'll be going for the stage.
They should have done that yesterday, mate, when they fucking got dropped in the crossies. They were absolutely nowhere. How is this, though? They got dropped in the crosswinds, right? And then they had their team chasing in Group 2, trying to hold that gap to 30 or 40 seconds. But then when they finally got to the finish line, Danny Van Poppel and Jordi Meuse, the Moose Man, actually did a full lead out for the sprint for 40th position. And imagine if you're Roglic and Lipowitz and you're seeing that, you're going, hang on, You guys have got enough in the tank to sprint for absolutely nothing, like literally no points, no nothing. And you're doing a full lead out and a full sprint when we've just been dropped and lost 40 seconds. I think if you were Roglic or Lipowitz, you'd be thinking, boys, what the fuck are you doing? Because they got caught out big time yesterday. And what are you sprinting for 40th? Like, there's no points. There's no nothing. A lead out, mate. They did a lead out.
Yeah, no, I saw it. I saw it, mate. I was bewildered when I saw it. I thought this was very peculiar. I guess they rolled the dice. They thought, if it comes back together, we want to have, two guys fresh, ready to go. So they rolled that card. I think they thought that Quick Step would have a little bit more to give and that they would really contribute and drive the group maybe to 20 seconds to where they could sort of scamper the gap back. But yeah, just a bit of silliness, wasn't it? But that goes to shows, when the whole crosswinds, the fight for crossies, we see Durbo pull over to the one side and hang the Slagen out. But we saw the fight and the tension was just constant throughout the day. And all the big guys, a lot of teams lost key riders early. Like Durbridge, he hit like 50k to go and Durbo was like, or maybe even 40, 30k to go and Durbo was like, I'm done. I've been battling for Dylan and I'm absolutely done. I got to get out of here. So teams were left. Like Quick Step had Valentin Paripunt on the front chasing.
Was he weighed like 40 kilos? Yeah, that's bad. Yeah. They're giving Caleb a lot of love here, isn't it? They showed his 5 Tour de France wins probably about 10 times, and he's doing the first 3 stages. So, I mean, how many times are we going to see these wins? Amazing sprints. I'm a massive Caleb fan. We're seeing this one as he comes over the top of Sam Bennett, maybe?
Yeah, it's Bennett.
Sam Bennett. And that was a great photo, actually. And I think you've got Sagan there as well in the white Bora kit. Ewan, do you know his wife's dad, so his father-in-law is this Irish dude who owned that Irish Pro Conti team. What was that one called? Aqua Blue Cycling. Remember that team?
Yeah. Yep. And so, then they would actually try and sell bike products to fund the team's budget for the year.
And the team were riding those stinking bikes with the one-by system that I remember. Who's their commentator now for Eurosport?
Adam
Legend,
Blythe.
the British guy. Yeah, Adam Blythe. And I remember on the cycling podcast, the British one, they had Adam Blythe there when he was British national champ. He was riding for Aqua Blue, and he was rinsing these bikes, saying these bikes are absolutely rubbish. He dropped his chain in a sprint, and it cost him the victory. And he was saying, the bikes are just shit, mate. They're shite. And he was still riding for the team. And that team fell apart very, very, very quickly. And that's Caleb's father-in-law who was running that team, and they actually got him on the podcast as well. He's a cool dude, and I think he said they asked him, after the team folded, why didn't it go right? And he said, look, you just don't understand how many costs are in this to run a cycling team. It's just a big money pit. And
everyone wants their hand in. Everyone puts their hand in. Yeah, put me in there, and I'd be putting 2 hands in.
Yeah, so bad. So, you have to look that up, the old one-by bike. What was the brand?
It was 3T.
Oh, the Explorer. Oh, it's a stinker.
It was. They were trying to sell the package, weren't they? They were trying to sell the real package of a gravel bike, a road bike, and didn't work, did it, mate? Didn't work. Well, in Tamasha, they're committed to that, aren't they? They are going all in. They believe their man, Binim Gramey, is a very good chance to win.
Do they have anyone else on their?
No. The team's been all really built around Biniam, so they have come here, and he's probably asked for the team to be solely for him. Luckily, he's got Luis Barre, Vito Brat, Hugo Page, Lawrence Rex, Jonas Ruch,
big strong classic guys, aren't they?
Yeah, just big units, very much.
It'll get his chance in breaks, but you're right. Yeah, you are right. Let's see the breakdown on our screen of the most attack kilometres by the teams in Grand Tours. So most aggressive riders so far: Decathlon, Groupana, XDS, and Team Pulte Visit Malta are here. I did not know that.
No, they're not.
So you see all the teams there. They are.
No, they're not.
No, this season.
Put your head in.
this season. So Decathlon, they've had a really good last couple of years, haven't they? Like last year was fantastic for them. Pretty much as soon as Decathlon joined, they've had a really good. Well, they've basically stopped being flogs and actually racing like a proper World Tour team.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think they brought new bikes on, but I think they brought a pretty big demand of upgrading and overhauling some sort of old approaches to cycling. So that was good to see, and that was implemented pretty quickly. And we saw like even O'Connor get some wins on the board early, like the Almeria Classic and a few other places. So set the tone pretty early. And going forward, I think they're going to be a really good team. Like they've gone away, and I couldn't tell you who they've started to sign, but they've been active, haven't they, lately?
No, they have. Yeah, no, they've been very active indeed. The Giro d'Italia has started as well, by the way, and it's just finished the first stage. So I've got a big gripe with this too. The Giro d'Italia women, or the Giro Femmes, let's call it the Giro Femmes, is on at the same time as the Tour de France. Like, it's just so stupid. When you've got a 3-week dead block from once the Dauphiné finishes, we're all dying for the Tour to start after the Dauphiné finishes. They should have the Giro Femmes in that slot. Like, it's on the same time as the Tour. Absolutely nobody will be watching that. It's such a shame because there are all the biggest riders are racing.
It makes no sense. It makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah, they make so many mistakes with all the scheduling, and that just seems like a simple one. Okay, you've got, Paris and Torino, they overlap, whatever. But, like, you can't have a Grand Tour for the women's racing and then the men's Grand Tour raced at the same time. It's just amateur hour. But I'll get up those results as well, see who won the first TT. Tommy, you messaged me saying you got to piss. Go piss, mate.
No, I didn't.
Go piss.
That was just my attempt to wrap up the stream.
Well, let me just see.
I'm getting a lot of unsolicited advice from the group chat, which is good.
What are they saying? Tell them to get in the chat. Don't hide it in the group chat. Put their names.
Better than Keno, they reckon, my friend. So I doubt that.
Better than Keno. Oh, Keno does a good job. He's a good host.
Keno's so good. Keno just he knows the ins and outs. People, he might not be able to paint a picture as what Rob Hatch can do, and fill the colour in, but he's sound. He's so reliable. I think got a lot of time for him, Keno. I think he had big shoes to fill, didn't he? So, and I think he's filled them.
Yeah, he's done a good job. The Giro Femmes first stage was the TT, 13 Ks, by the way. Marlon Russa took that out. She's having some season.
No surprise.
She beat, have a look who she beat. She beat Kopecky, 12 seconds. Longo Borghini, 16 seconds back. And Anna Van Der Breggen, top 4. Yeah, so that's in 13 Ks. So Marlon Russa, since going to Movistar, she has completely transformed herself into a rider who was, she was just kind of an all-rounder. She's always there, but a bit more of a time trial specialist. Till now, she is climbing with the very best and beating Demi Vollering at the Tour of Suisse. So she has, completely transformed herself. So she's one to look out for as a bit of the third or fourth prong for the Tour de France Femmes when that starts in August.
No, you're on the money. Yeah, and we talk about how good and how entertaining the men's race is. The women's last year was one of the best races I've ever seen. That final day. So, and that's just going to be more exciting for the Tour de France Femmes, brought to you by Zwift this year. That is going to be sensational. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, so it starts
August
27th. Well, by the way she climbed in the Tour de Suisse and the way Demi Vollering didn't, I think we're now going to be looking at a 4-peat because we're going to have Anna Van Der Breggen there. We're going to have, of course, Cassia, the returning champ, Neo Dauphiné, and Demi and Marlon. They're going to be the big four. So that's going to be very, very interesting. And Russa has the advantage of the time trial. She is a time trial specialist. So, it's going to be Yeah, that's going to be an absolute ripper. Benny Dover comments, when do you think the race will kick off tonight? It's a good question. I think we're going to start to see, Ben, the race really start to fire up at about 100, basically after the intermediate sprint. So at 155 Ks, probably a kilometre 147 into the race, we're going to see the race really build up for that first intermediate. So the pace will pick up with the lead outs, etc. And then once that sprint has been completed, then we're basically going into all these pinch points where teams like UAE and Alpecin will want to position themselves at the front of the peloton from kilometre 160 until the end of the race, because you've got 1, 2, 3, couple of descents, 4, 5, 6 climbs come in the last, 50, 60K, and there's descents involved as well. So I reckon, Tom, around 150. What do you think?
Yeah, I tend to think a little bit, maybe even a little bit after that, 150 kilometre mark, maybe that sort of 170, because I think you're going to have a bit of a reset. I wouldn't be surprised the break gets reeled in just with the sort of chaotic stress in the bunch for crosswinds, which will be present around that time. But then you throw in the intermediate sprint, and if the break is around that 1 minute to maybe even 50 seconds or like less, it'll get ridden back. And then after that, you'll have a bit of an assessment. If teams are going to push on with it, is there enough wind, so to speak? Do we need a ride position? And then it'll sort of, we'll know then, in my opinion, a little bit after that. So that 160, 170 is my assessment of it.
Okay. Well, it's the gap's at 220 to the peloton, to the breakaway now. So still Amaray, Fedorov, and Brent, Vermeer, and Leknesund. I think Leknesund's probably there to try and see if he can gain a bit of time. Maybe just sneak some time bonuses. Maybe he's keen for the Mountains jersey. That might be a reason why he's there, because Leknesund's actually got a really he's got a nice, I'm just going to bring up his results as well. He's got a pretty nice set of skills. He's won quite a number of races. He's came second in the Giro stage back in 2023. He's been the European champion in the time trial as well. He's won a stage of Tour Suisse. He's won the GC of the Arctic Race of Norway. And I'm pretty sure 2023, he finished 8th on GC. So he can be a GC rider, and that also means he can go for the Mountains jersey, because it's those kind of riders, isn't it, Tom? The ones who probably could finish on general classification from 7th to 20th are usually the ones that can collect that Mountains jersey at the Tour.
Yeah, absolutely. But I dare say the people who go after it, they're not exactly the ones who are going to be putting themselves in the break this early. Like they're going to hold tight. They're going to wait for sort of stage 10 on Bastille Day, where there's a stack of climbs you go through. There's like 5 category 3 climbs. That's where you get your points. That's where you start to bank them in that second week. And as soon as you get to the Pyrenees, you've got to get in those big breakaways early on the day. You got to make it count. It was fascinating. It was actually really cool to see the battle for the Com jersey. To be honest, it's actually really cool to see how Astana did the Com jersey at the Giro. I thought that was really good. So, they anchored it and they held on to it.
Who was the guy who got it? What's his name again? Who won it? It was a masterclass. I can't think of it off the top of my head. Cameron, thanks for watching, mate. We'll you're up late, East Coast bedtime. We'll look out for tomorrow's podcast, by the way. Recap today's stage and yesterday's as well. And then on Friday, we'll do another one of these as well coming up as Tommy finds whoever that
Scaroni. It was not Christian. No, it was not Christian Scaroni. He won the stage on stage 16. It was Lorenzo Fortunato.
Fortunato, that's right. Yes. That was a clinic, wasn't it? And he looked so good in the blue bibs. He did the blue bib shorts, and they did a masterclass, Fortunato. So we're seeing the peloton have a pretty even split here between Intermarché and Alpecin, and basically it's just the big horse, the big Belgian from Intermarché, and the former Swiss national champ Dillier, they're the only ones that have done any work so far. And it's interesting that UAE haven't offered anyone. And it just means, they're happy to sit back.
They are. They can all sort of just put the clutch in a little bit. This often is the case when you see it when it is a bit of a block headwind. Like it is kind of head cross to begin with until we hit the coastline around sort of that 50K to go. So you're going to see, more square looking pelotons. Everyone's just kind of, big boys will sit on the front. They'll motor along at sort of 45, but you can sit in that bubble behind them, sit at the back, save your legs, obviously bide your time before you move up. So yeah, I don't know. The stage is going to rumble along. Very much a standard pattern today, just with the direction of the parkour.
How about Lenny Martinez? He had a stinker yesterday. He got dropped off the back of the peloton in the crosswinds, maybe like 6 or 7 times, and I think he might have finished the stage last on stage 1.
He did. He was stone cold last. There was actually an interesting quote from his director. I saw it and I just wrote it down. Bahrain director Roman Kreuziger. He had a comment from Lenny Martinez, translated from French, and he said, "We have to figure out certain things, why he's good one day and playing golf the next." Something we could take a leaf out of that book, mate.
Interesting. What is that? Just like a translation thing? The playing golf the next? Is that another way of saying why?
He's just said. I think maybe, or I think he's more indicating to the point is why is he good? Is because maybe he trains hard one day, then plays golf the next day.
So Lenny was 9 minutes 11 back. He was stone cold last. He was 3 minutes slower than the final group, which was 6 minutes back, which included just about everyone that got flogged out of the early crosswind. So a really tough day. And those days are so hard for the small riders. Lenny weighs nothing. Like he would weigh probably 55 kilos. And those crosswind days would they kill you. It's so much harder in the wheels on those big raw power days.
No, it is. It's where the big boys come to the front, unless you're Tadej or Pog. You can see these boys as well in the breakaway, like Fedorov rolling through here on screen on the broadcast. They're all getting low. They're all just trying to get as aero as they are, and they're stomping on the pedals, and they're not moving. Like that just shows you the breeze that's in their face at the moment.
And how good of who's the guy from Marseille? What's his name again? The guy who's on the front.
Ooh,
big horse,
question, mate.
The big horse. It's Dillier and the big solid horse.
Jonas Ruch.
So yeah, those two. It's 2v4, and they're holding the gap quite easily at 2:20. And I don't think that gap is going to go past 3 minutes at any stage for the rest of this stage. So yeah, it's they're working hard, but at the same time, they're not going full gas either. They're definitely saving something for the back end of the stage.
I tend to disagree, to be honest. They've been kept on a pretty short leash here. They've only been given 2 to 3 minutes, 3 minutes at most.
You reckon they're going full gas?
No, they're not going full gas, but they're not exactly just rolling along with a crosswind at their back or a taily. They're applying themselves to keep the pace. So they're not getting a free ride at the moment.
Okay, I reckon they're doing it a little bit easier. Brent Van Meer did it really well. I think it was a Paris-Nice stage that he won solo. He said that he rode 220 watts for the first 75% of the stage, and then he rode over 400 for the remaining 25%. And the peloton just gave him too much time. They thought he was cooked, but he was just playing. As my cat comes on the screen here, he was just playing with them. So they've got to do something. That's about the only tactic that the breakaway has. But Tommy, I reckon we might call it at this point of the stream because the peloton done nothing. And
they're rumbling along. I need to go get some dinner, mate.
Sprint. You got to get some dinner. And I think what we'll do is we'll pick a big mountain stage to have our roadside live on for the next time we do this, and we'll put it on the socials and we'll put it on our podcast as well. So I must remind everyone, tomorrow we'll have our recap, stages 1 and 2, and then We'll be back on Friday with another pod previewing the weekend's big stages and, of course, recapping everything that happened from Monday through to Friday. Gaz is tapping out in Tassie. Good commitment there, Gaz. And make sure you got the heater on over there in Tassie.
Mate, got the heater over in Perth. It's freezing, mate.
Yeah, I know. All right, we'll catch everyone at our next live. Thanks for everyone tuning in, and we'll see you on an episode tomorrow, because I'm sure you'll be listening.